final boarding call for all remaining passengers. Please now make your way to the gate. The podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Travel. I'm Linda Hill and I'm your host of today's podcast, and I'm delighted that I'm joined with a colleague and friend, Shane Thomas, who we all know very fondly as Mr. Barbados. And Shane represents the Barbados Tourist Board, and we're going to be talking all things Barbados today, which is perfect for what day of the week is this? This Tuesday. Tuesday. It is blowing a hoolie outside. It's freezing. It's wet. And we're going to talk the sunshine place of Barbados. So welcome to the podcast, Shane.
Thank you, Linda. Pleasure to be here and being inside in the warm conditions.
Yes, warmer than it is outside for sure, but I'm keeping my scarf on today because it is very cold. But after our chat and our podcast, we'll be feeling very sunshiny because that's what the Caribbean does to you.
Indeed.
It's a happy place. So Barbados, it's an island that most people will have heard of. Tell us how you came to be in a podcast studio in Sandyford with an accent like what you've got. So tell us a little bit about Shane, first of all.
Well, first of all, Linda, thank you so much for this opportunity. As I said, it's always my pleasure living here in Scotland to represent Barbados and everything that it has. And I'm here 11 years now. Can't believe how time has flown. And certainly more and more Scots are going to Barbados, and they don't realise the history and the tie that Scotland has to Barbados over the years, or the centuries, I should say. And the first thing I remind them is, you're the home of whiskey and we're the home of rum. But if you go and do a lovely tour of our distillery up in the north, which is Mount Gay, you'll see the pot stills which come from Scotland. And then there's some bricks out on the road leading up to the distillery where you see Bonnie Bridge, Calder, Atlas. Well, of course, these are famous Scottish names. So it's a home from home then? Exactly.
Yes.
So these famous Scottish names are on these bricks, and then they go, what's that doing there? And I said, well, they're actually ballast on these sailing ships coming over to Barbados to trade. And of course, if we took the ballast off, how did the ships get back? Well, they used the molasses and the rum to get back up to Scotland.
So there really is a connection between Scotland and Barbados.
Indeed. Yeah. And let me not forget to say as well, there's this area called the Scotland District, which is basically an area of Barbados which back in the 1700s.
I didn't know this.
Exactly. So. That reminded them of Scotland. So it's the topography and so forth that they said it was the closest thing that reminded them of Scotland. So we have a Scotland District.
There you go. I'll need to go back and see that the next time I go to Barbados.
Yeah, good history lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. I should have spoken to you before I went to Barbados. So to give listeners an idea, Barbados, we're obviously on the Ayrshire coast here, so Barbados is probably a similar size to the Isle of Arran.
About that, correct. Yeah? I always tease people that whenever I go over to Arran, I says, well, it's about the size of Barbados, obviously a little more mountainous. And but the same concept of where they have a chocolatier and so do we. They have a soap maker and so do we. They have 2 distilleries. We have about 5 now. So again, they like their tourism, very island life driven as we are in Barbados. So I've always made a joke, maybe we should twin it.
That would be good, actually. I'm sure Arran would be delighted with that. And they are very entrepreneurial as an island, Arran. The only thing that I would say that Barbados has got that they haven't is sunshine.
There you go. But they have the golf courses and so do we.
So let's talk about the Caribbean weather. It's pretty much year-round sunshine, yeah?
Yes, we get that lovely 30 degrees. Barbados sits, yes, we say the Caribbean, but technically geographically in the Atlantic. So we get a lovely breeze off the Atlantic Ocean. And I always say we have that gentle breeze just to keep it a little cool. We have, as I say, good year-round weather. We have tourism that basically we see people arriving, obviously predominantly between December and April, but growing very strong and steady in May and June, and likewise October and November, which is good to see. We have our good summer travel as well because we have our carnival, which we call Crop Over. So Crop Over is a celebration of the end of the cane harvest, which connects back to our rum industry. So Crop Over is the first Monday in August.
Okay. And let's just again talk about weather. Kind of January to April is your peak time. Most people would try and avoid the Caribbean September, October because of hurricane season. Does Barbados get impacted at all by the hurricanes or?
Well, I always say to people, we like everywhere else, climate change is around us. We have these type of what we call weather systems, where Barbados is geographically placed. Again, we tend to see what we call the inclement weather becoming a hurricane. So by the time it passes us, it can either strengthen or weaken or go up or down. But we are the first, obviously, point of where we see this weather coming. I am 58 years old, so in my 58 years of life, we've not had a massive hurricane hit Barbados. I think you always hear your parents and grandparents talk about Janet. So there we are.
Yeah, well, I was in Barbados last September in what is classed as hurricane season, and we had wall-to-wall sunshine every single day.
Great.
Didn't even see any wind, never mind hurricanes. So, and the reason, a great reason for choosing September is it's well priced.
Yes.
So that's
September's good value for money. So is October. And just looking at November, which is our time of year to celebrate our Independence and Republic Day. So basically, you see the blue and yellow coming out, the pride of the nation. So a lot of visitors do come in November as well.
Yeah. So it's a great island. So for people listening who are thinking of doing a trip to Barbados, what would you say would be your top things to see? What would your...
Well, I always say to people, when you go to Barbados, it's an island that's very friendly, very easy to move around. That's one of our unique selling points. And therefore, being the size of Arran, very easy to traverse, good local bus system as well. So, or rent a car, go and explore. But Barbados is very welcoming that way. And what you call pubs, we have rum shops. So dotted around the island are these rum shops, very friendly. You have your local food there. We have something called the fish cutter, the cheese cutter. So I said, try the local food. It's delicious. And of course, you have to have macaroni pie. So every Barbadian will tell you macaroni pie. You know what you all call macaroni pie is nothing like ours.
Okay. So tell us about Barbados macaroni pie.
So there we go. So your macaroni pie has a crust because it's a pie, but ours is basically baked in a pan. And it's very cheesy. And it has secret ingredients in there of flavor because everybody does it a bit differently. But in its whole process of makeup, it's loved by both kids and adults.
Okay. And we'll talk about Fish Friday when we come to
Oysters,
that.
yes.
We'll don't let us forget that. We'll definitely come back to that.
Yes.
Barbados is a great island for foodies then.
Yes, absolutely. Street food, amazing.
Yeah.
We're known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean. So I always say from street food to fine dining, you can find what you
and
like
everything
to eat.
in between.
And everything in between. I also then talk about there's a good Caribbean melting pot of food in Barbados as well. So you can get the influences of Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica. We have the influences of Africa, India, even China. So I always talk about the Chinese food in Barbados and so forth. But one of the favorites I want people to try is a roti, which is basically curry in a wrap, to explain it to somebody from Scotland.
Oh, curry in a wrap.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you say that?
So a roti,
roti.
R-O-T-I. Yes. So you can get that either vegetarian or fish, shrimp, chicken, beef. So I always say try the roti. And one of my favorites is a goat roti. So goat roti has a lot of flavor to it.
There you go. So we're going to just talk about Fish Friday just now because we've turned the conversation around very quickly to food. So
Yes.
Tell us about Oystons and Fish Friday, which is not to be missed.
So Oystons basically comes alive on a Friday because people leave work, they go there to hang out. That's the one thing with Barbados as well. There's no tourist side and a local side. Everybody mixes well together. So Oystons is that whole coming together. There's entertainment as well. There's a stage. And there are many little, what I call them, people doing their fish fry. So you can try different cuisine from different operators. And when you walk around and see basically fresh fish like barracuda, dolphin, marlin. So you have a chance to try the different fish because I know coming from Scotland, again, your seafood is different to ours.
Very much.
And we love to season and flavor our fish before we put it on the grill, whereas you guys tend to flavor and season it after you've cooked it.
Okay.
So you don't taste the sea when you have our fish, as we say. Right, so it's well flavored, and you can get a bit of spice as well. We love our pepper sauce, which is made by the Scotch bonnet pepper. So again, we always say be a little ambitious if you like that type of flavored food. Try our pepper sauce; it's really nice.
Okay, and entertainment on Fish Friday at Oystons.
Yes, again, a whole mixture of entertainment there. Varies from Friday to Friday, depending on who is going to be there as well. But it's there. People participate.
And it starts at 4 o'clock in the day, is that?
So I would say no, because after work, so people start to filtering from 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Tends to really get going from 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and obviously can go very late.
Yes.
So we love to, as I say, to socialize in the Caribbean, Barbados. So it's a very, I should say, very relaxing atmosphere. If you look on it on YouTube, you see some good videos of it as well. So it's one of our popular night spots that people go to on a Friday night.
So if you're in Barbados on a Friday, it would be one of your recommendations.
Yes, please
to do
go and
Fish
visit
Friday.
Oystons. You have to,
Brilliant.
indeed.
And where does Oystons sit on the island? Give us a
So it's on the south coast.
On the south coast.
We would say the parish of Christchurch, because Barbados has 11 parishes. So we are not far from the airport. I would say if you're leaving the airport, it take about 10, 15 minutes to get there. We're not far from St. Lawrence Gap, so you would know, obviously, you put a lot of guests to stay there. So St. Lawrence Gap is equally about 10 minutes from Oystons. Oystons sits right on the ocean, so of course when you go, you can see the lovely pier where the fishing boats come in. So it's very much a beachside fishing village.
So you definitely get fresh fish then, because it's literally
Correct. Comes in
straight out the sea.
Ladies put it on the grill, and it's cooking right there in front of you as well, so you can smell it in the atmosphere.
So from a where to go on the island point of view, South Coast is very popular.
Yes.
Where else would you recommend?
Well, you have to go to the West Coast as well, of course, where what we call the Platinum Coast of Barbados. So again, they
would you
have...
say that would be the expensive side of Barbados?
Not really. What they have fine dinings, they have great hotel and accommodations, but in between that, of course, we still have our rum shops. We have different types of accommodation. As you go further north into another area called Spikestown, which I call a very laid-back, sleepy town, very much the what you call tavern feel of some of these beachside bar and restaurants. So do experience the western side of Barbados as well. Some of the accommodations there are gorgeous, and the villa accommodations are beautiful.
Some of the villas are just
Barbados
different level, isn't it?
Barbados is very lucky to have that level of development on the West Coast. And as I say, even when you go a little inward, because we have great golf courses as well, from the Sandy Lanes, Royal Westmoreland, now Apeshill, they've done an amazing job. Apeshill, so some of those villas, stunning.
Sandy Lane is possibly one of the most beautiful hotels I've ever been in. Yeah. It's iconic, it's very pink, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And that's where a lot of these villas are situated, on that part of the island beside Sandy Lane and Westmoreland. It's millionaires' playground for sure. But that's the thing that I think, obviously, with your job, is trying to educate people that Barbados is not just about the millionaire villas, and there's something for everybody in Barbados. Right from self-catering right through to your high-end 5-star all-inclusives and everything in between.
Exactly. So it is accommodation for someone. So it all depends on your budget or the feel that you want. We have it all, and we continue to upgrade them. We continue to obviously modernize, and we get new players coming to market as well. And even in the villa market, you have different levels of accommodation in the villa market as well. So I always say to people, when you talk to various persons in Barbados, they will give you advice depending on what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely something for everybody. It's good for families, it's good for couples, and then the cruise market is...
Yes,
massive.
Cruising now, that is something that has really developed and come on strong. So as I always say to people, pre-COVID, a lot of people would come into Barbados to go on a cruise, but not necessarily stay on the island. Post-COVID, there are a lot more people coming into Barbados, spend a few nights, get on a cruise ship, come back off the ship, spend a few nights again, and then go back home. So there's more and more desire to spend longer in Barbados, but still do the cruise. And then, of course, we have cruises that you can only go from Bridgetown to Panama, or Panama back to Bridgetown. So there are ways to use cruises to go and see other destinations other than the Caribbean. And then we have lovely Caribbean cruises as well. So every island is different. And using Barbados as a base, why not? Because there's so much to do on the island of Barbados. And then when you go on the cruise, you see other parts of the Caribbean.
Yeah, so we do it's a big market for cruising, and we've got lots of charter flights from Glasgow and Edinburgh directly into Barbados to join cruise ships. But I always think it's such a shame that they fly into Barbados and then leave, and whilst they have a lovely 14-night itinerary around all the Caribbean islands, they're missing out on what Barbados has to offer, because of all the Caribbean islands that I've visited, Barbados is definitely one of my favourite. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. It feels very safe. Yeah. Compared to some other Caribbean islands, there's a real, there's something just safe about Barbados. The crime rate is low, which is good and important for people to know. But it's also very British. There's it is a
Historically
bit
British,
yeah,
from inception,
kind
and
of home from home. You know, it definitely does have that connection. But we started talking, and then we lead into food, about what you would say your top things for people to do in Barbados. So what else would you say is
yeah. So you have to do an island tour,
an island tour?
and you have a choice because obviously it all depends on how adventurous you are. But definitely island safari, which is basically your Land Rover Jeep going off road. Or you take something like a Sweet Life Tours, which is a small air-conditioned van, and they take you around Barbados as well. The drivers are very knowledgeable of the history of Barbados and the
And
areas
good
of
fun.
Barbados. And there are other brands out there doing the same as well. I love a catamaran cruise. So again, there's plenty of catamarans to choose from. But the fact that I like the lunchtime cruise because you get to do what we call a snorkel stop. You swim with the turtles, then you go for lunch. Again, local food. You don't even need to get up to get a drink. The guys will make sure that you're well served. You just get up to go for a swim or to get your lunch. But it's a great day out. And then, of course, for the romantics, the sunset cruise is a fantastic experience.
It's got some beautiful sunsets.
Yeah, being out on the water and seeing the sun setting is absolutely striking. And for those of us who love to film and take photos, striking, right? And a little off cuff a bit, Atlantic submarine. So, of course, if you snorkeled all day, you know what's there during the day, do a night dive. Night dive is absolutely amazing. I know. See what you said? Wow. People don't think about it. And I always says you really need to do the night dive. A whole different life is down there, all these lovely fluorescent colors and so forth. So, again, I like the Atlantic submarine.
Brilliant.
What's getting popular as well is the horses. Everyone likes to go down and see the horses swimming and exercising. That's a very early morning thing to do.
Before it gets too hot.
Yeah, and that's basically, as we say to people, a tradition. You see it on YouTube again. Everybody's filming it because again, these are ex-race horses or some actual race horses being exercised as well. So again, have a enjoyment with the horses of Barbados, and then get out there and really do your own exploring. We have lovely hiking trails. We have the Natural Trusts who do their hikes over the weekend. So I say go and hike Barbados. Amazing sceneries. You learn a little bit of history as well. So it all depends on what your love is. And of course, if you're into these gorgeous churches that we have some amazing churches to go and see the architecture.
It's interesting on a Sunday to be in Barbados and watch people go to church in Barbados.
Yeah.
They really go all out.
Correct.
And, you know, they dress up and
Yes.
it's, you don't have to go
on
too
Sunday lunch. We love our family Sunday lunch. That's a big thing.
go too far to find a church in
Exactly.
Barbados.
Again, in its inception, divided into parishes. So every parish has a main parish church, and then you have various churches and around those various villages as well.
Which is very different from back home because so many people don't go to church now. But in Barbados, everybody goes to church. It's part of family life and
part of growing up, part of family life, part of
which is
of
nice.
what we do. And of course, we, as I said, part of our Sunday is to get the family together and have lunch as well.
We need to do more of that in Scotland, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
indeed.
Mr. Barbados, see if you can sort that out. But yes, in Barbados, there's a lot of sporting events throughout the year as well.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about that.
As we sit now, Run Barbados happening. Which is your marathon, half marathon. It's a lot of fun. So that's been building over many years. We have the open water swim as well, which is becoming very popular. Swimmers around the world coming to really experience that. But if we start with, obviously we're in December, so let's start with January. We have that round the island race. If you love yachting, sailing, that sort of stuff, you actually sail around Barbados. But if you're not into that, you can actually be a spectator. And then, of course, people love the after party. So the races are finished, they're on the beach, and of course, everything is about rum. So Montney rum is involved in the round the island race. And then, of course, if you like go-karting, we have a racetrack called Bushy Park. So this is an actual racetrack, and people go out there to take their kids to have fun in these go-karts, and then they realise this is an actual track. So the actual parents end up racing the children on Bushy Park. So that's another fun thing to do. As we said, there's a lot of things for kids to do as well. There's a wildlife reserve, which is exactly what it is. It's a reserve for animals, especially the green monkey. So when you go to wildlife reserve, the animals are roaming free.
And is the monkey green?
We call it a green monkey. It has a tinge to it.
Okay.
But basically, the monkeys roam free. They go at feeding time, and they're all rustling through the trees to come and get their food. But they're very playful. So if you're not, squeamish or afraid, if you just sit quietly, they come and sit on your lap. and they're just rolling on the ground in front of you. So it's a great experience to see how the monkeys are very playful. And then again, the huge land turtles walking around as well. I think they have a red deer out there as well. So it's a really good place to take the kids to go and roam while you relax in the cafe. So that's one I actually recommend. And you must do Harrison's Cave. It's our number one attraction. Harrison's Cave now just besides the cave tour, which shows you how Barbados became Barbados, because we are a coral island. So you see the lovely crystal waters that's developed from coming through the limestone. But then we have what we call the zip lining. So you can have some good fun climbing the ropes and zip lining. And there's some great a cafe there and food. And there's a chance to a rum tasting as well.
It's all about rum, really, isn't it?
The island is all about rum.
So, are you a rum drinker as opposed to a
say rum aficionado
drinker?
Because I actually, in my first career, I was in wines and spirits and training everything but rum, and then I decided let's look at rum more as it is. It is something that you can express to people what rum is. So of course, moving here and everybody's into whiskey, the first misconception was all rum is sweet, which is not true. So again, it was my pleasure to really educate people on Barbados rum in particular. And the first expression was when you say, well, have a taste of a Barbados rum. Oh, it's not sweet. And I says, well, if you look at Mount Gay, Eclipse, and Dorleys, those brands, no.
Shane's famous for in his travel events for his rum tasting and his rum cake. And thank you so much for my lovely rum cake today. I'll enjoy that over Christmas. That will be on the Christmas table, and we'll think of Mr. Barbados on Christmas Day.
Great.
But yeah, he likes to share his rum experience with his travel agents. So
yeah, and the number one cocktail is rum punch.
Yes.
1 is sour, 2 is sweet, 3 is strong, 4 a weak. Good song.
Brilliant. And talking of music, tell us who's famous from Barbados.
You should know Rihanna, so you got to come and experience it. And if you come for crop over, you'd normally see Rihanna participating
she's
in
still got
crop
a house
over.
in Barbados, hasn't
she? Yes, she does, indeed.
And that's a tour that they do. You can go and see Rihanna's house.
Right.
And
so that's one thing. You have to get into what we call the culture of Barbados. And we have a very deep culture. I mean, we have a strong element of not just what we call the music, but we have a lot of artists. So famous people doing sculpting, pottery making, paintings. We have a really strong culture.
There's always something happening in Barbados, no matter what time of year, because there's a carnival as well.
Yeah, which we call crop over.
Was that what the carnival is?
So
right,
okay. Yeah, because I know most people, when you say crop over, most people do not know what it is.
No, I was thinking it was separate.
It is like a carnival. So obviously, carnival is really Mardi Gras, which is basically part of the Catholic Church type celebrations. But ours is a harvest festival, which is celebrating the end of the sugarcane harvest, of which then we are then talking about how it connects then to our rum culture, which is basically like how the French have their wines, we have our rums. So most Barbadians can tell you a lot about rum because they've grown up with the different types of brands. And they know
feed it to your babies in their bottles?
Not as bad as that. But certainly as you get to the age of appreciation of the fine spirit, you're usually guided in the right direction.
Okay.
What's a good rum and how to consume it.
Okay.
Responsibly, of course.
Responsibly, yes. So I have seen loads of pictures on TikTok and Instagram of what I thought was the carnival, so I thought that was separate, and people go all out.
Yeah, costumes are amazing.
Oh, it's just like Mardi Gras, isn't it?
And the thing is, with our carnival, you can participate, which is crop overs, right? So crop over is, don't just go as a visitor and watch it. Be part of it. Join what we call the bands. So there are various bands depicting whatever theme they want in costume. And it's a great experience. And again, very safe to do. More and more visitors are participating in crop over. And the music that comes out for that time of year, locally produced music, is fantastic. And you feel then that how the country does come together and celebrate. And we want to include our visitors. So our visitors are welcome to be part. And I always say to people, there's no tourist side or local side. There's the island of Barbados. That's there for everyone. Likewise, our beaches, no private beaches as well.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the beaches.
Again, we want people to enjoy the beaches of Barbados, but respect that the locals have every right to it as you are as a visitor as well. So we love to make sure, and that's our unique selling point, as you said earlier in the podcast, is that people feel safe there because the friendliness is there and the welcomingness is there because we're very welcoming to our visitors.
So is there no private beaches at all in Barbados?
None.
So even Sandy Lane's beach isn't private?
So Sandy Lane will have a part of the beach that's for their guests, but you cannot take out the whole beach. Nope. You can walk along
past
and
Sandy Lane.
see the pink umbrellas.
And all the famous people
The
that
catamarans will anchor there for lunch. You swim up on the beach and you go walk along sandy beach and then swim back to the catamaran as well.
Right, okay. So no private beaches, good. So how do we get to Barbados from Scotland?
Well, from Scotland, as I keep saying to people, you do BA down to Heathrow, or you can do go to Manchester via train and take either Aer Lingus, Virgin or TUI. Sometimes TUI had ad hoc flights from Glasgow to Barbados as well.
Yeah, which is good.
But it's seamless with BA. When you go down to Heathrow, you go straight to your gate. So your bags are tagged right through. So it's 8 hours across the pond, as we say. And you land in Barbados just after 3. You get to your hotel just in time for a rum punch on the beach and a quick swim for sunset. So
I did Heathrow last year. We flew with Virgin Atlantic down to London and then straight over to Barbados on a direct flight, which was great.
Fantastic.
So it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, we talked about cruising, but unfortunately most of the cruises for us are literally into Barbados, and we need to speak to the cruise companies to get that to get that sorted.
Indeed.
Because what would be a great offering is a 7-night cruise and then 7 nights in Barbados, which TUI does, or Marella Cruises, I should say.
They're very good at doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So with TUI, because they do a 2-week rotations, we call it, you can do a week first and then sail, or sail and then do a week. But there are other ships that you can go into Barbados and then join. So let's step away from cruising a bit, because I love sailing. So you have Star Clippers, which is a sailing ship. So for those who like to experience that and be closer to what we call the smaller islands, the Robinson Crusoe type experience, and Star Clippers is extremely popular to people who like that type of experience. But we have a variety of cruise ships as well that you can choose from to board.
Well, in the winter time, so many ships are based in the Caribbean,
Yes.
and there's no Caribbean cruise doesn't touch Barbados, because it's
Yeah.
it's
You have the
iconic,
MSC,
isn't it?
Azamara, so there's a list of them.
Silversea.
Yeah, so again, Silversea is a great one. They've been growing their itineraries out of Barbados strongly, and then the newest one that's starting to do well is Emerald, which is you can do Bridgetown, Panama Bridgetown as well. So again, you can decide to fly out to Panama, because we have 5 flights a week from Barbados to Panama.
Okay.
And then cruise back to Barbados on Emerald. So yeah, so I'll look at that one. That's a nice one to do.
Yeah. So Barbados is definitely a hot destination, not just in weather, but for people to go, because there's something for everybody to do, whether it's couples, families, solos, and we've talked about all the sporting events. There's tennis, there's horse racing. You know, there really is something.
Well, the horse racing is, I know you all love your horse racing here in Scotland, so you have to come to the Sandy Lane Cup. So that's, again, another one. The Gold Cup, as we said, the Sandy Lane Gold Cup, which is in March. I think it's the first Saturday in March. So that's the horse racing calendar there for you. You have to do that one.
And for people listening, if they want to know what's happening in Barbados, you've got a calendar, haven't you, on the...
Yeah, so as we always say, the what's on, so just Google Barbados and then get on the what's on to see what's happening. But pretty much, as we say, there is something happening every month in Barbados. So there's never a dull moment, as we say. So most visitors, especially when they arrive on the island, can ask front desk for an idea of what's happening during the period they're there. And of course, around the island itself, there's so much to do and so much activities. So most hotels, if not all, has a magazine called Ins and Outs magazine. So that's one of the guides that we have that's printed every year. And then they have a smaller one called The Nutshell, which is easy to carry around. But these are nice guides that will give you an idea of what you can do, where to eat, where to drink, where to shop, what to do. So yeah, very, very, very good information. And you can find it online as well. So Ins and Outs Barbados and Nutshell Barbados.
Nutshell and Ins and Out Barbados. And for us, you know, what's great having a relationship with Shane is that if there's something happening in Barbados he doesn't know about, it's not worth knowing about. So you are very knowledgeable. Even though you've been living in Glasgow for 11 years, you've still got family in Barbados and you're very much in touch. In fact, when I picked Shane up today, he was on a call with somebody from Barbados. So if you have questions, please get in touch, because Shane is our man. He'll find out for us. And if he doesn't know, it's not worth knowing. So...
And we always keep the agents up to date. I love WhatsApp. I think WhatsApp is a very easy way to connect people. So I've done it many times where I'm talking to you, Linda, and I'll say, well, have you seen so-and-so's hotel? It's just been refurbished. Or you can WhatsApp the manager right there, have a conversation. Can you show me your new room, please?
Yeah.
I had one who had a guest that needed wheelchair access. So right there, they're communicating with the hotel. They're showing them videos of the room, so they know that it's wheelchair accessible and it's comfortable and so forth. And then again, this morning, you had someone who was looking for what we call an all-inclusive, but not a high-end all-inclusive, but so it's comfortable. So again, we were able to send them immediately videos, photos, and all of that that can show them what they can do on Barbados as well. So we're at the stage now where, because of our quick information age, as we say, everything is
technology
accessible.
makes it easy.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And you can share even short videos very quickly. Here's a 60-second video on what this hotel looks like. So when things are being refreshed and renewed, we keep you up to date via WhatsApp.
Brilliant. So yeah, thank you so much, Shane, Mr. Barbados, for coming on and sharing the connections between Scotland and Barbados, which actually I didn't even know some of that. So thank you. Every day is a school day, as they say, and you learn something new. Thanks for everybody for listening. Another episode of Let's Talk About Travel. And if you haven't visited Barbados yet, what is stopping you? It's such an easy island to get to. So get booking. And thank you for listening to our episode this week.